Loneliness is usually misunderstood. People think it means being alone, but some of the loneliest people are surrounded by others every day. They talk, they smile, they participate, yet something still feels missing. If you've ever felt disconnected, even when people were right next to you, this isn't a weakness. It's psychology. Loneliness isn't the absence of people. It's the absence of connection. And connection requires more than proximity. It requires understanding. Some people don't struggle to talk. They struggle to feel seen. They can hold conversations, but very few reach them. This often happens to people who are naturally observant. You notice tone changes. You sense emotional shifts. You pick up on what isn't being said. Your mind processes social information deeply. Psychology shows that people with higher emotional awareness often feel more isolated because shallow interaction doesn't satisfy them. You don't want noise. You want meaning. Another reason loneliness appears is because you don't fit easily into groups. Not because you're difficult, but because you think independently. Group dynamics rely on similarity, shared opinions, shared humor, shared behavior. But when you think differently, blend in less, or question more, belonging feels forced. So you stay quiet, not because you have nothing to say, but because saying it feels pointless. Psychology calls this social mismatch. When your inner world doesn't align with your environment, over time, this creates emotional distance. Another hidden cause of loneliness is emotional self-reliance. You've learned to handle things on your own. You don't rush to share problems. You don't expect others to fix things. You don't seek constant reassurance. On the outside, this looks like strength, but internally, it creates separation. People assume you don't need support, so they stop offering it, not out of cruelty, but assumption, and slowly, you start feeling invisible. There's also the weight of past experiences, being ignored, being misunderstood, being the one who cared more. The brain remembers emotional pain. Psychology shows that after repeated social disappointment, people become more cautious. You listen more, you reveal less, you protect yourself quietly, not because you don't want connection, but because you don't want to be hurt again. Loneliness also grows when your values don't match those around you. You might care about growth, meaning, honesty, or depth, while others chase distraction, attention, or validation. This creates a silent gap. You're present, but not aligned, and alignment matters more than presence. Another factor is mental overstimulation. Your mind doesn't rest easily. You analyze, you reflect, you think ahead. In social situations, this becomes exhausting. While others relax, your brain stays active. That doesn't mean you dislike people. It means your nervous system processes more information. Psychology links this to introverted sensitivity. Your energy drains faster, so solitude becomes necessary. But solitude without understanding turns into loneliness. The most misunderstood truth is this: loneliness isn't always a sign that something is missing. Sometimes it's a sign that you haven't found your people yet. Deep minds don't connect often, but when they do, it's powerful. You don't form many bonds, but the ones you form matter, and that takes time. If you feel lonely, it doesn't mean you are unlovable. It means your mind and heart require more than surface-level connection. You're not meant to fit everywhere. You're meant to belong somewhere. And that difference is important. There is another side of loneliness that most people never explain. It's the loneliness that appears when you are emotionally ahead of your surroundings. You grow faster than the people around you. Your thinking matures, your priorities shift, but your environment stays the same. Suddenly, conversations that once felt normal start feeling repetitive, not because others are wrong, but because you've outgrown certain frequencies. Psychology calls this cognitive and emotional divergence. When your internal growth creates distance from familiar connections, this is why you may feel lonely, even around people you've known for years. Not because they changed, because you did. Another overlooked reason is that you don't perform socially. Some people bond by exaggerating emotions, by being loud, by constantly reacting. You don't. You observe before you speak. You choose words carefully. You don't pretend excitement you don't feel. In a world that rewards visibility, quiet depth is often misunderstood. Psychology shows that people who are internally regulated often receive less external attention, not because they are boring, but because they don't demand validation. And this creates a strange paradox. You are stable, yet overlooked. You are self-aware, yet unseen. There's also the loneliness that comes from emotional honesty. You don't like pretending everything is fine when it isn't. You don't enjoy superficial positivity that avoids real issues. You want authenticity, but authenticity makes people uncomfortable. Most people connect through distraction, not truth. So when you speak from a place of honesty, others pull back, not because you're wrong, but because depth requires courage, and courage is rare. Another layer of loneliness comes from being emotionally independent. You've learned how to regulate your own emotions. You don't rely on others to fix your moods. You don't overshare to feel lighter. This creates strength, but it also creates distance. People often bond through shared chaos, through complaining, through emotional dependency. When you don't participate in that cycle, you become harder to relate to, not superior, just different. Loneliness also grows when you see patterns early. You notice when someone's effort drops. You sense when interest fades. You recognize emotional inconsistency, so you pull back quietly. You don't argue. You don't chase explanations. You detach with awareness. From the outside, this looks like distance. From the inside, it's self-preservation. Psychology confirms this behavior. In people with high emotional intelligence, they don't wait for damage. They move at the first sign of misalignment. This protects them, but also reduces social quantity. Which brings us to a truth most people never accept. Depth reduces numbers. When you require sincerity, your circle gets smaller. When you value meaning, casual connections fall away. When you protect your energy, access becomes limited. And yes, this can feel lonely, but it's not emptiness, it's filtration. You are not losing people. You are filtering noise. Another misunderstood aspect is that loneliness is often transitional. It appears between phases of growth. You leave one version of yourself behind, but haven't yet met the people who align with who you're becoming. Psychology refers to this as an identity gap, where old connections no longer fit, and new ones haven't arrived. This phase feels isolating, but it's temporary. You are not meant to shrink to fit old spaces. You are meant to expand until new ones appear. Here's the part that matters most. Loneliness does not mean you are failing socially. It often means you are succeeding internally. You are becoming more self-aware, more selective, more aligned. And alignment always comes before belonging. If you are in this phase right now, where you feel distant, quiet, misunderstood, don't rush to fill the silence. Don't downgrade your standards just to feel included. Don't confuse familiarity with connection. The people meant for you will not require performance. They won't drain you. They won't confuse you. They won't make you question your value. They will feel natural.